Good morning, everyone. Robert Scribbler here with the Friday, April 28th session of the OBX Wave Report, where I discuss all things waves, weather, climate, and the beaches. And today is a special day for two reasons. Today is the Climate Strike Week 245 for the Fridays for Future movement. And the brave young climate activists have been out there mainstream. Um, the various presses across the world have not really been covering the climate strikes, but recently, just last week on Earth Day, we had tens of thousands, perhaps hundreds of thousands of people gathering to protest fossil fuel burning and to advocate for the rapid deployment of clean energy and the rapid reduction of carbon emissions to help save our future. And now, following Earth Day, we are at week 245, nearly 5 years running now of global climate strikes on the issue of climate change to help defend our future for everyone, for our children, for ourselves, and for those reaching old age who are facing increased risks of harm due to pollution, heat waves, severe weather, rising sea levels, harm to infrastructure, and the fearful reaction that can tend to pollute our politics when people respond to fear in a negative fashion. The way to respond to fear is to act, as these climate activists are doing. And the way to respond to action is affirmation of the heroic action provided by these young climate activists. And I just want to say that once again, stand completely in solidarity with them and please support them. Um, I also did want to note that we have some news. Yesterday, I was talking about extreme ocean heat in particular. And over the past day, we've had a rather severe heat wave move northward into Spain, injecting Sahara desert-like temperatures into southern Spain in an April heat wave that caused temperatures to spike to 38.7 degrees Celsius. Off the top of my head, I don't really know what that is in Fahrenheit, but we're going to convert that for you in a minute. This new temperature record pulverized previous monthly records for April by 5 degrees Celsius. And I can convert that actually pretty quickly in my brain. That is, 8 degrees Fahrenheit, I believe. um, so just a massive smash to the previous temperature record for April in Europe, previous hot temperature record, 38.7 degrees Celsius. Let's go ahead and just convert that for you guys. Celsius to Fahrenheit conversion. We can find that on the interwebs pretty easily. So Celsius to Fahrenheit conversion, 38.7 is 101.66 degrees Fahrenheit. So 102 approximate temperature in Cordoba, Spain yesterday, which is just ludicrous. And we've had numerous heat waves in Europe this past winter, and it looks like Europe is unfortunately heating up to what would typically be summertime extreme temperatures in April. So yet one more indicator that the climate crisis is upon us, even as global temperatures are in the range of 1.2 to 1.3 degrees Celsius above the 1880s to 1920s average. And from this point forward, every 0.1 degrees Celsius increase in global temperature is going to hurt us a lot more. It's pushing us into ranges that we aren't used to, that our infrastructures aren't used to, that the Earth system that provides our life support isn't used to. And this is the reason why we all need to get involved in the global climate movement for our future and to help support the mass deployment of clean energy and the drawdown of excess carbon in the atmosphere by revitalizing our Earth system and revitalizing the natural life support systems and doing what we can as human beings to enhance those life supports. All right, so let's get on to another announcement, not forgetting the need to work for our future, but for me, this particular announcement is related to the future because yesterday, let's see, actually, let me pull up my Twitter accounts. So yesterday I was out at the beaches and I did get some surfing done, which is always fun. And but I've been noticing over at Jeanette's Pier, they're building this thing. They're building this big platform for the East Coast Surfing Association Championships, which are going on from April the 28th, which is today, through April the 30th. And this is a surf championship that occurs on the East Coast. And this year it's happening at Jeanette's Pier, which is, a place where I love to surf. So I was out in the water with a bunch of young surfers yesterday, surfers aged, seems like all the way from like age 10 through, I don't know, late teens, early 20s, just a bunch of extraordinarily talented young surfers out there practicing, getting ready for the competition. Just so excited about the new surf competition coming this weekend. And they were really tearing it up out there. So it was fun saying hi to all the young surfers and just seeing their enthusiasm in the sport. There were a couple of surf coaches out there as well, shredding it. A lot of mentors for these young surfers, and it's just so exciting to see such a positive, supportive community in surfing. All these young surfers were like cheering one another and just really having a great time in the water, and lots of talent out there. And it's just so nice to see such a positive environment around surfing. Everyone was really, observing the surfer kind etiquette, letting people not cutting people off, staying out of each other's way, cheering each other's waves. It was just a really fun environment out there, and it's just great to see so many young surfers having such a positive attitude and really getting involved in the sport in both a free surfer kind of spirit um and a competitive spirit, but in the sense of more kind of competing with yourself to hone your skills and just get better and improve. So I don't know, it's just really great to see that spirit animating the surfers. And um, it's ironically appropriate for Friday for Future because I mean this kind of team effort to build each other up and encourage development and positivity and action and forward progress is exactly what we need to tackle the climate crisis. I know that the surfers out there are out there like doing it to surf, but I think that positive spirit and that positive community is something that, if it spreads to just broader society, we could really tackle the problems of our future in an effective way, in a problem-solving way, and in a way that just helps to build each other up, to help affirm each other, and to help build up the things that we need, the natural world, to help give back to that, and to make the human system one that is supportive of the natural world by doing things like mass deploying clean energy and pursuing all of the sustainability pathways that we know are there. So yeah, just a major inspiration from the young surfers yesterday, and the Mid-Atlantic Regional Championships happening from April 28th to April 30th. It's going to be kind of stormy and rainy, but you know what? Um, there's nothing more fun than watching surfers surf. So head on down to Jeanette's Pier if you get the chance, and um, you know, cheer on the young surfers. They're out there shredding it today. All right, so let's get into our climate and weather and wave forecasts and summaries. And let's see, yesterday we talked about ocean heat a lot, and I still got this map up, and oh boy, is it nuts. Yeah, I don't know if I need to talk about this again, but yesterday we had a really comprehensive video on ocean temperatures, which are just in the crazy range. Talked to some scientists about it, Dr. Mann, Dr. Robert Rhodes. There's a lot of great information out there provided by the scientists who work so diligently and so hard for all of us. All right. So let's looking at the geocolor composite satellite. We see some storms across the U.S. east and southeast. We got this frontal boundary, this warm front sweeping on through through the Outer Banks, so the eastern United States and the Outer Banks today. Some thunderstorms to our south, showers to our south. Those are going to sweep through by late morning, and then trailing behind, we're going to have some spotty showers and thunderstorms, possible clearing, stronger southerly winds. For the ESA surfers, might be a little choppy and sloppy out there, but nonetheless, it looks like you guys are going to have some decent waves in the range of 2 to 3, 2 to 4 feet, so at least not small. And then let's see, out west, it's pretty clear and looks like we've got another storm system gathering in the central U.S. And looking at the enhanced cloud tops, boy, it looks like Florida is getting another round of severe thunderstorms barreling through the Gulf region, and then another round of severe thunderstorms aiming at Florida popping up in the much warmer than normal Gulf of Mexico, which has just been firing off storm after storm after storm. I was looking at headlines in the Orlando Sentinel, and basically the weather guy down there is asking, when is it going to stop? Thankfully, hopefully it'll stop by next week. But nonetheless, today, another round of severe weather possible down there in Florida. And then up here in the Outer Banks, we've got those storms preparing to roll in. And then up in Virginia, Maryland area, we've got, looks like some thunderstorms as well. And then another impulse sinking down through the trough, heading right toward those warmer than normal waters in the Gulf of Mexico region and toward those warmer than normal waters in the North Atlantic. In the intertropical convergence zone in the Pacific, you can really see those thunderstorms also firing ocean water temperatures much warmer than normal there as well. All right, so let's get to the National Weather Service radar, and you can see that shield of rain moving through North Carolina, Virginia, and then parts of the Northeast. And then to the south, you can see those storms threatening off the west coast of Florida. Got some, looks like some pretty tall cloud tops out here with some heavy weather heading toward the west coast of Florida. And don't see any severe thunderstorm alerts up yet, but the day is early. We do have some marine weather statements out here off of Jeanette's Pier and running through the Outer Banks. Let's see, looks like small craft advisories are up. So no gale warnings, no gale watches, but small craft advisories up. We could have 10 to 30 mile an hour winds coming out of the south and southwest today. So strong winds out there. If you're in a boat, please pay attention and be careful. All right, so getting to the spot observations, we're going to start at Jeanette's Pier where we have our surfing championship today. And at Jeanette's Pier right now, waves are in the range of 2 to 3 feet, according to our wave monitors. Primary swell coming in at 7 seconds as a 5-foot swell out of the southeast, not completely lining up with the coastline, but nonetheless a relatively large swell, not needing to wrap around too much. Secondary swell coming in at 8 seconds out of the east-northeast. That is a 2.5-foot swell, kind of falling down from yesterday. Winds out of the southeast at 10 miles per hour. That is an onshore flow. Air temperatures right now 66 degrees Fahrenheit. Ocean water temperatures 60 degrees Fahrenheit. Still a little chilly. I was out there for a while yesterday and got some finger numbing. 60-degree water temperatures. I was wearing my booties, my gloves, no hood. But it was cold enough out there for me to like want to have that extra protection. So you're probably going to want to have your full suit at least. I saw a lot of people just in a full suit, no booties, no gloves, but some people wearing their booties and gloves as well. It's just a call for you depending on whether or not or how resilient you are to the cold. Generally speaking, I think booties and gloves is probably a good idea at 60-degree water temperatures. Weather conditions at Jeanette's Pier, rain right now, light rain. Some thunderstorms possible today, late afternoon possible into the early evening with some scattered storms. Highs in the upper 60s, southeast winds 15 to 30 miles per hour. All right, so heading on down the coast to Avon, we're going to pass Rodanthe, where waves are in the range of, I believe, 2 to 4 feet according to the wave monitors. And then we're going to go on past Avon, where the waves are 3 to 5 feet, with a primary swell coming in at 7 seconds out of the southeast. That is a 6 foot swell. Not completely wrapping around there at Avon, but getting close with those 3 to 5 foot waves. And then the secondary swell coming in at 11 seconds. That is a 3 foot swell out of the east northeast. Winds right now coming out of the southwest at 18 miles per hour. That is a cross shore and offshore flow. Air temperatures right now at Avon 70 degrees, so pretty warm right now, and ocean water temperatures 67, much warmer. Less likely to need those booties and gloves at 67 Fahrenheit water temperatures. Weather conditions today, rain with showers and thunderstorms continuing throughout the day, becoming scattered by afternoon. Highs in the lower 70s with southeast winds 15 to 30 miles per hour. And then heading on down south to Buxton, we have our final wave observation with Buxton showing waves right now in the range of 5 to 6 feet. Primary swell coming in at 7 seconds. That is a 7.5 foot swell out of the southeast. Secondary swell coming in at 11 seconds. That is a 2 foot swell out of the east northeast. Winds right now 19 miles per hour out of the south. That is a cross and an onshore flow. Air temperatures also 70 degrees at Buxton. Ocean water temperatures 68. So temperatures solidly, ocean water temperatures solidly in the 60s across the Outer Banks today. Weather conditions right now, rainy, some thunderstorms possible throughout the day. Highs in the lower 70s, south winds 15 to 30 miles per hour. All right, let's get into some climate and climate observations and some longer range forecasts. Looking at the global climate system right now, air temperatures are in the range of about 0.54 degrees Celsius above normal. And this is in comparison to the 1981 to 2010 reference period, which is also an above normal baseline. So temperatures above normal. In the Arctic right now, we've got really warm temperatures relative to typical seasonality at 1.293 degrees Celsius above normal. Tropics also heating up at 0.48 degrees Celsius above normal, with that El Nino likely to occur in the equatorial Pacific. It's heating up the tropics, and that also tends to wag the globe hotter. And in the Antarctic, 0.296 degrees Celsius above normal. No major regions of the world below normal today. This is what's been happening for a long time now. And it's getting worse as we continue to burn fossil fuels. So we need to stop that and very rapidly deploy the clean energy. All right, so getting down to our quantitative prediction forecast. The NOAA QPF model for the next 7 days. This gives us an indication where the storminess is most likely to occur and where the heavy precipitation is most likely to hit. And what we see is continuing storminess for the U.S. East Coast over the next 7 days, primarily focusing in on the next 3 to 4 days, I would think, looking at the weather models and things like that. Might linger a little bit longer, but eventually this more stormy period is expected to move off, and we're expected to get clearer weather. We shall see. But right now, the longer range forecasts are pointing toward less stormy conditions for the U.S. East Coast. So we shall see. And looking at those longer range forecasts provided by the Climate Prediction Center, we see cooler than normal temperatures expected for the U.S. East, warmer than normal temperatures expected for a large swath of the U.S. Northwest, heading down toward Texas, and then below normal temperatures for the California region and the near California region. And I was talking about how the storminess is expected to move off a bit. So we do expect below normal precipitation for the upper central tier of the U.S. and then stringing down on into the mid-Atlantic, and near normal precipitation expected for most of the rest of the U.S. East, with the exception being Maine, New Hampshire, and Vermont. Above normal precipitation expected for most of the U.S. West in the 6 to 10 day forecast. Looking at the convective outlook for the next 3 days, right now we have some risk of severe thunderstorms, supercell thunderstorms across much of Florida, parts of Louisiana, Alabama, Mississippi, and Georgia. And it looks like about 16 million people under the threat of severe weather for today, with possibility for thunderstorms over a large swath of the U.S. Southeast. And then for tomorrow, not day 3, day 2. For tomorrow, hold on. Did I not get the day 1? Aha. Okay. I'm sorry. My apologies. For today, I read you the day 2, so we're going to issue an immediate correction here. This is day 1, and for today, April 28th, let's just make sure. Yeah, April 28th. We have a risk of severe weather over most of eastern Texas and a risk of severe weather over much of the U.S. Southeast. Looks like we have about 52 million people under the threat for severe weather. For the U.S. Southeast, this includes Florida, eastern Georgia, eastern South Carolina, much of North Carolina, and parts of central and western Virginia, extending up into West Virginia and Ohio. But eastern Texas looking like it may be the hot spot for severe weather today. And if severe weather does threaten, please pay attention to your local emergency management folk and weather experts and do what you can to protect life should severe weather threaten. All right, and then for tomorrow, we have this enhanced risk of severe weather across Florida and parts of the Southeast that we mentioned before. And then for Sunday, we have enhanced risk of severe weather for the Outer Banks region, parts of the U.S. East Coast ranging from the Hampton Roads area down to the South Carolina, Georgia border, and then once again for the southern half of Florida. So lots of potential for severe weather over the coming days. Please stay safe out there, guys. And now let's get down to our wave forecast. So let's go to now and go ahead and update this and all right, get into our wave forecast. So right now we've got southerly winds starting to become the primary influence for the wave system. Right now I say wave system. For the wave development, how about that? For the wave development in the near offshore environment. Right now we've got some pretty tall swells out there in the range of about 8 to 9 feet, and those swells aren't really translating to shore fully. We've got 2 to 6 foot waves across the Outer Banks right now, although for some of the south-facing beaches, we might have some rather larger waves. So places like Billy Mitchell, which, you know what, I didn't check, but you probably have bigger waves at Billy Mitchell and Frisco today. And then as we get into tomorrow, that southerly swell cants more toward the east as the winds switch around to the west and tend to angle that swell more toward the east. And I think that for tomorrow, the waves are just generally going to be nicer according to this wave model. We shall see. But with the winds coming out of the west and the swell coming in from the east at about 6 feet, I think that the waves will be nicer for places like Jeanette's Pier, where they have a surfing competition. Yay! So hopefully the waves will be good. I don't think the waves will be 6 feet there tomorrow, but we shall see. Probably more so in the range of 2 to 4 feet, 2 to 3 feet. But I don't know. We might be surprised. We might have some really good waves there tomorrow for the surf competition. And then on Sunday, the swell is going to angle out of the northeast more. This is pretty direct onto shore. Looks like a 4 to 5 foot swell out of the northeast for most of the beaches, although some south swell remains for the south beaches. And then once again, looks like a very good wave day for Sunday. So good waves today. Well, it might be choppy today, but very good waves tomorrow and Sunday looking like. Let's look at the air on Sunday. Well, Sunday might get a little bit choppy with those southerly winds coming in. So let's see. Earlier in the day on Sunday it looks better. Yep. So good waves early in the day on Sunday, but southerly winds coming in later in the day, likely chopping up the surf on Sunday. So, and then as we get on into Monday, those southerly winds do have their effect, turning the surf toward the south. We have taller waves from the south, but likely not translating onto shore. So probably have 1 to 2, 2 to 3 foot waves for the north beaches, larger waves for the southern beaches as the wraparound gets more involved, but a little bit more choppy with those with that southerly wind effect. Although as we get into the day on Monday, those winds are expected to start to turn out of the west. And as we get later in the day, I believe with those westerly winds, the swell starts to turn more towards shore. And even though it gets a little smaller, looks better with those westerly winds. So later in the day on Monday looks pretty good as well. So let's get back into the morning hour on Monday. And then let's see, do we have a Tuesday? Yes, we do. And then for Tuesday, we have the swell oriented to the south and east. So coming in from the south and east. And so still that angle, swell in the range of 4.5 feet. And let's look at the wind. Still coming out of the west. So hopefully this won't get blown out. This is 20 mph west wind. So possibility of some of the waves getting blown out by Tuesday, but we'll see. It might actually be pretty good with those westerly winds on Tuesday. And yeah, so nonetheless, looks like some pretty good days for waves over the next 5 days. So thank you for joining me for this Friday for Future session of the OBX Wave Report. I hope you get down to Jeanette's Pier and get a chance to enjoy watching some of the surfers in the competition there. Um, Looks really fun. And as I always do, particularly on this Friday for Future, I'd like to ask you guys to please do everything you can to defend our coastlines, our beautiful beaches, our beautiful communities, our beautiful environments on the shores from the impacts of climate change driven by fossil fuel burning. And the primary effort right now, the main thing that we can really push on and get a lot of progress on is the rapid deployment of clean energy, which is going to cut down that fossil fuel burning. And the more clean energy we have out there, competing with fossil fuels, replacing fossil fuels, the better off we'll be over time, and the faster we'll get to net zero and net negative carbon emissions. And so we really need to focus on that. Clean energy being wind, water, solar, and electric vehicles. These are the technologies that we have available now that are capable of mass deployment. So when we talk about rapid, we talk about the need for speed. And those are the technologies right now capable of speed. There are some other technologies out there that might be capable of speed later on. But right now, those are the ones that we have that provide the most oomph and that are really capable of getting out there and providing us with a lot of benefit on the short term. And a lot of people talk about silver bullets and these like miracle solutions. Um, we've got the solutions. I mean, the solar energy, the more you build it, the more you deploy it, the more the cost goes down. Similar with wind energy, the learning curve is fantastic. Similar with batteries, there's so much new that can happen in batteries, so much that is new, so many new chemistries, so many new ways of building batteries, and so and all of these systems have synergy, particularly when you add them to efficiency technologies like heat pumps and other ways to make energy more efficient. It creates this snowball effect that provides energy sources that are more competitive than fossil fuels and gives the fossil fuel industry really no excuse for continuing to double down on harmful fuels. All right, so thank you for joining me for this session of the OBX Wave Report, and I will be back with you all very shortly with some video from